Welcome to the Business Spotlight series. I'm Everardo Resendiz, also known as Coach Ever. I'm a certified executive and leadership coach here at Action Coach in Northwest Louisiana. Today I have Hannah Sharp with Wisner Minnow Hatchery. She's going to talk about her business, and of course, she's my guest. So we're going to be talking about the journey to the business, the challenges, the things that they do really well. I'm going to share a peek into what it's really like to build and operate a business. If this is your first time on the channel, please be sure to like and subscribe to get notifications when we drop new conversations just like this one. So, Hannah, thank you for being here.
Thank you for inviting me.
Would you share with us a brief overview of your background and tell us a little bit about Wisner Minnow Hatchery?
Okay, Wisner Minnow Hatchery is our mother company. My grandfather started the company in 1959. I'm sorry, I had a phone call. And I'm having to do this from my phone. Anyway, my grandfather started the company in 1956. And he was raising minnows. He started out raising minnows, and that's how our business started. So that's why it's called Wisner Minnow Hatchery. And so we started with the minnows, and then he started raising catfish. We could raise catfish and minnows together in a pond. So then in the 70s, he started a little catfish processing plant, and he only did about 25,000 pounds a week. He did that in Wisner when we had a train that came through, when he would put the fish on the train and it would go to Memphis. Well, the price of the fee got up and it just wasn't working out. So he shut that down. But then in the 80s, in 1982, my father built another catfish plant here in the rural area of outside of Wisner. And then in 95, he bought another processing plant. So that's Haring Catfish, where we process catfish. And then we needed to make feed to feed the fish. So he started a company called Topwater Feed Mill, which is a feed manufacturer for catfish feed. And then we also make dog food, and we bag deer corn during hunting season. And then he started buying land. So we have a lot of land that we row crop. We have almost 5,000 acres of row crop where we grow corn and soybeans, and the corn we use to bag for the deer corn, and we also use it to make the catfish feed.
Okay, wow. It seems like you have everything. And you also said that you created a transportation company to move your product around?
Right. I mean, you're right. We have a transportation company, 3H Farms, but we only just haul our own products. We'll haul ingredients for the feed mill. We deliver the processed catfish. We haul the live fish to and from our plant. So it's just for us to get our products delivered.
Very cool. And so I'm sure not a lot of people know about food processing, but what's the seasonality of it? I mean, I'm sure you're not growing catfish all year long, or are you? I'm unaware of that.
Well, hybrid catfish take about 9 months to grow, and they do grow catfish all year long. So, and you have to have catfish all year long for the processing plant. It's not just a certain season. It is 365 days of the year. We process catfish every week. It's slower in November and December. I've told y'all about that at the meetings because of Thanksgiving, turkey season. It is slower during those times, but Lent, of course, January, February, March is normally our biggest months. And then the summer has picked up. The summer is big, but we process year round. So we have to have farmers that grow fish year round.
Okay, wow. See, that's something I was completely unaware of. I always thought that it was like there's a growing season, there's a harvesting season, but it's all year long for you.
Well, I mean, the farmers do have harvest seasons, but they can, I think you would call it double batching, where they can grow 2 crops, have one crop come off and then they have another crop coming up. They restock the ponds and have another crop to start growing and get ready. Yeah.
Very good. Okay, so set the stage for the viewers. Okay, what's the current ownership like? I mean, what's what's the role that you guys have, or are there any outside investors, private company, public? What is it like?
No, we are just a private family-owned business. My father is the majority shareholder, and then his brother has shares within the company.
And so what's your role in the business?
My role, so I'm the secretary treasurer, and I'm on the board of directors. And my day-to-day activities, I buy all the catfish for the catfish plant to process. I make sure it's sane, or you can call it harvested if you would like. And I line up all the trucking to make sure it is delivered to the plant. Then I also buy all the ingredients for the feed mill where we make all the catfish feed. I sell all the feed out of the feed mill, make sure it's delivered. I occasionally sell catfish, which I've told y'all, if we get heavy on inventory. I make sure that on the trucking company, I do all the preventative maintenance, all the repairs. You know, if they break down in the middle of the night, I handle and take care of all that to make sure the truck gets back up and running. I do all the advertising and the marketing for the company, and I help coordinate the planting. So when they plant the row crop, then I make sure we have it on the maps. Like I create maps, what's planted where, which variety of seed is planted where, and then I keep up with all the harvesting records and make sure that we get paid for everything that we deliver and sell to the elevator or whomever we sell it to.
Wow, it
So,
seems like you wear like 20 hats.
yeah, sometimes it feels that way. I mean, it's a lot. Sometimes it's a lot.
And so I'm gonna ask this question. I know it's a little loaded, but how many hours do you work, and how many hours should you be working?
Yeah, well, I probably, my dad says I don't work enough. I should work 24 hours a day, it seems like. And it seems like you do with cell phones. You know, with cell phones, you're always, even if you're not at the office, if something comes up, you know, you have to handle business. I mean, it's just the way that it is. But I normally work from about 6:30, 6:45 to 4 p.m. Monday through Thursday, Friday, 7 to 12. And then I have my phone. So if anything happens,
There you go.
I'm
All
available.
right. Okay. So let's move on to what makes your business so great, right? So special. And so who are your customers? If I was your audience, right? How will I know if your products are right for me?
Well, anyone is a customer for us. If you like catfish, if you want to buy catfish, you are a customer, and we would love to have you. But we are open for walk-in business. Anyone can come in and buy catfish anytime. We have fresh or frozen, restaurants, grocery stores, and then larger companies that also supply grocery stores and restaurants. You know, wholesale customers, we have those. So we'll sell anybody.
Right, and we're not just talking about the catfish, but also the feed.
Right. The feed, same way. Walk
Okay.
in, stores, feed stores, whomever.
There you go. And so, are there a lot of operations like yours in the area? I mean, what makes you unique?
Well, there are two processing plants in Louisiana, us and another one in South. We're in North Louisiana, and then there's a processing plant in South Louisiana. So I think what makes us unique and special is we are a family owned and operated business, you know, which I always think those are great. Small family businesses are very good to have. And then the number one thing I think is, or number two is that we have Louisiana grown catfish. So we are a Louisiana company that processes Louisiana catfish, and we're the only processing plant that does that. The other processing plant doesn't have Louisiana grown catfish. We have it right here in our area, farmers right here in our area. So I think that makes us very special.
I think so. And so, what is one thing that you wish more people knew about your business?
Well, we live in a very rural, distressed community. We employ about 100, well, at the processing plant, about 120, we have 125 available jobs, which I've told y'all the stress that we have of the labor situation. that we face, and I think every business in America is facing still a labor shortage, but what did you?
The
What
question
was
is,
the question?
what was one thing you wish more people knew about your business? Yes, that you're local,
Oh,
that
knew
you
about it.
provide.
I mean, my grandfather started this company with one thing on his mind. He grew up poor. My grandfather grew up very poor. My dad said they were starving to death. I don't know that was true, but they grew up very poor. And he had one thing on his mind, was he wanted to provide for his entire family, his brothers and sisters. I think it was 9 or 10 of them. And so he came and established something and invited all of his family to come, and he helped set them up, whether it was growing minnows or growing catfish, or if they wanted to farm, he helped them so that all of them could to prosper. And I think that's, very special and unique.
Well, you know what? I was thinking about the community that you guys live in and where you have the majority of your employees. You are likely the largest employer by far, and so now they're your family, and you probably have the same vision for that.
We do. I mean, my father feels the same way. He wants all of his, he wants his family to work together and to prosper. He wants to do it together. I mean, it's always been a family business, and he wants to keep it that way. He's got plans for my kids, I'm sure.
Well, that
But
leads
yes,
me
we do
to.
live in a very distressed community. I think our distress score is 85.6. So where our area is very, rural and not. We are the second largest employer, and the first largest employer is the school system.
Wow. Okay. All right. Well, that definitely makes a difference. And so that leads me to the marketing question, right? That's something that most every business out there needs to really pay attention to, and often an area that many business owners struggle with. So I'm always curious about what successful businesses are doing. Like, is there a budget for marketing? Is there a marketing plan? How many different channels do we have to get the message out there that you're there, you're providing these unique service, right? And that you do have a community that really relies upon you being successful.
Well, our community Wisner just started having a catfish festival. I think this will be our fourth. This will be maybe our fourth. Is it fourth? Third or fourth year to have a catfish festival in our town, Wisner, and it has been incredible. The reaction and people coming out and eating and enjoying. It's been really nice. I think it's been really good, and that gives our little community a little boom. I think all the vendors do really well. So it's not just for us, it's to help other small businesses also.
And so when is this festival?
It's May the 4th.
Star Wars Day. Okay.
Yeah.
In just a couple of weeks.
May the 4th be with you. Yeah.
All right.
Oh my
So
God.
so the festival certainly is a way that you can get some public external public awareness that this is happening, and certainly the product. Um, as far as finding new restaurants or grocery stores or even retail customers, how do you go about that?
Well, we do a lot of cold calling to find, and then we have a traveling salesman on the road that goes and looks for, businesses, restaurants to introduce ourselves and give them our brochure and information and tell them a little bit about us. And then, but mostly it's about the flavor of the fish. I think that is, we're processing catfish. It's not that much different at each place that processes. I think there's 7 or 8 processing plants in the United States of America. Not very many, and we're all doing about the same thing. It's not much different. But I think unique is your flavor. So we have very high flavor testing of the catfish. I don't know if you've ever seen anyone taste coffee, but catfish has a flavor. So you want it to have a very, very mild, almost to no taste at all, and very, very fresh tasting. So I think that is one thing that makes us stand out, is that we have very high standards for the flavor of our catfish. We want you to be so satisfied. We want you to say, this is succulent. This is the best thing I've ever ate, and keep coming back for more.
That's true. Okay. So we spent some time already focused on the business and share some of the things that make you special. I'd like to step back a little bit and perhaps dive into the journey a little bit more. And so, this is a family business started by your grandfather. You're there, you've been there, you grew up into it, right? Um,
Yes.
and so have you um I'm sure you have had these times when things weren't so high or so well, right? There's been dips along the journey, right? So is there anything memorable to you, like a hurdle that you have been challenged with and you were forced to overcome?
I mean, I've learned so much from my dad. My dad was really adamant about, you start from the bottom and you work your way to the top. Just because you're my daughter doesn't mean that you're going to be given this. You're going to work for it. So that was always forced upon. I mean, that's what I knew. So I did. I've worked in the plant. I've worked every job in the plant. I know how to run every machine in there. That's how he was just determined. That's what you're going to do. And no, it hasn't always been that much fun. I hate to make boxes. There's certain jobs I don't like to do, but looking back now, from being a 14-year-old to being a 43-year-old, I can say that he was right. You do need that experience. You do need to learn how to do from the ground up to get that experience, so you'll know what it takes to do that job, so you can remember what it was like. And when you have employees, you can say, hey, we can, this can be done. It can be done this way. So, but yeah, I mean, business is hard. It's
Yeah,
not always the greatest day, but you just gotta keep at it.
that's right. You got to keep at it. And so, of all these jobs that you did over your time since you were 14 all the way to now, which one was the hardest or has been the hardest?
Which one was the hardest? The hardest job. Well, nothing in the plant. All those jobs are pretty easy. Standing on concrete all day long is probably the hardest thing. It's pretty rough on your knees. But I think dealing with people in sales and dealing with catfish farmers is probably the toughest. People can get very unhappy with you if you're not doing what they want. So being a people pleaser is probably the hardest part of the job.
I'm with you. I get that. Okay. So, let's look a little bit forward now. Okay. So, where do you see you guys going in the next 3 to 5 years?
3 to 5 years. Well, I hope we can continue to grow our brands with the top water catfish feed, dog food, and with our Haring Catfish. I hope we can continue to grow, and I hope we can reach new markets. Like I told y'all, it's better to deliver a truckload at a time than it is one box. So
Right.
that's what we're pushing forward to.
Okay. And so, what's your approach to goal setting? I mean, do you guys do like strategic planning of some sort? Do you set goals for the year or perhaps quarterly? Um, do you document them? Do you do anything like that?
No, we don't. We don't really. I wouldn't say that we really set any goals, but if we did, I mean, not like on paper. We don't have like meetings, like a goal meeting or anything. But I mean, we do have goals, and we, of course, try to follow through and complete the goal. But I wouldn't say it's like any, not a not a big executive meeting or anything like that where we map it out, you know. The goal
Okay.
is to make a living. That's the goal. Sell the
And to
fish, sell the
make a living for an entire community, not just you. You know what I
right,
mean?
not just us. That's right. That is
So,
correct.
and so, when thinking of the future of the business, I always think that it's important to address the topic of building a great team, right? And so, given that the job market is limited in the area where you are, um, how do you go about creating and developing people within the organization?
Well, really, the labor market has been so tough. You know, COVID was a disaster for labor. Of course, that was terrible. But we're bouncing back a little bit from that. But we pretty much just hire anybody that comes in that wants a job that's willing and able. We try them out. I mean, that's really all you can do. And we do use the EB3 program where we get foreign workers that are coming here to become citizens. And then we have tried the H2A program, but they went up so high on the pay scale that we just couldn't afford that. So we just hire anyone that wants a job, and we advertise in the local paper. We advertise on Facebook about jobs. I mean, you know,
Yeah, I get
we'll
it.
hire anybody.
And
Yeah.
so once you recruit them and bring them in, assuming that there is some good stock to begin with, right? Um, how do you develop them into greater positions or more responsibility?
Well, we just teach them like school kids, you know, every day. We just tell them
You
what
add
they're
a little
supposed to
bit at a
do.
time, right? And
Yeah.
it's seeing how they respond, and helping them to gain that experience. And so, again, a team is it's always a very it's a touchy area because over the past 2.5 years since COVID, um, we've been faced with these almost churning these turning door. It just people come in and out all the time, and it doesn't
Right.
give you an opportunity to really develop those relationships with them. Okay,
I mean,
and
we
so
do have employees that have been with us for 45 years. I mean, we do have several that have been with us that long. It's this new generation that come, they'll stay a week, they don't like it, and they leave. You know, it's a huge difference between the older employees and the newer ones. You
right,
know,
there's a
people
big
just
gap.
don't take the pride they used to in jobs.
We see that less and less these days, and so which then bears the question. You probably don't have a training plan per se, but if you did, what areas do you think you could or you should train your people to, perhaps create a more established workforce?
Well, I mean, we do have like a training plan. I mean, they have stuff that they have to do. You know, we teach them the job and they know what they're supposed to do. It's just, but if I could give them pride, and make them say, I want to do this job and I want to do it the best I can do. If I could give them that, I would, but you just can't give that to people, and you can try to teach it to them, but they have to accept it and want to do it. That's a huge difference.
Yeah.
You
I mean, when
can't
you
make
are,
people do what they don't want to do.
and that's the thing that it has to come with the right attitude, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
If
Right.
they
It
have the
does.
attitude to learn, you can almost pour it all into it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So we've covered a lot of ground in this conversation, and for those who are watching, I encourage you to save these and come back a few times for an additional watch. There's a lot of good great nuggets in here. So as we begin to wrap up, and I'm gonna have a set of rapid fire questions. Okay, so quick top of head answers for each one of these. Okay, so what's the key to success to you?
Keep showing up. Keep working hard. Keep pushing. You know, persevere. Don't give up.
I love it. I love it. So, what's your one piece of advice for other business owners?
Be kind to your employees. Always be kind.
You truly never know what's going on in the other side, and so yeah, I wholeheartedly agree
Right.
with that. That doesn't mean you have to put up with a lot of things, right?
Right. But you can still be kind. That's right. But you can still, it goes further, you know?
Yeah, I agree with you. So, what is one book you're reading right now, or that you have read recently that is, in your head?
I just finished The Meaning of Marriage by Timothy Keller.
All right, and
You
what can
should
you tell
read
me
that
about the book?
book. It's about marriage. It's a Christian book about marriage. And it was real. I mean, it really was a good book. I did learn a lot from it, and I did enjoy it. There were some parts I didn't like, but there's some parts of marriage I don't like either.
Don't we all have that? Okay.
Yeah.
So, if you had to choose only one area of your business that you could immediately have working well tomorrow, it could be improved, right? Or fixed, whatever. What will that area be?
If I could update all the processing equipment and make us to where we are more automated and do not have to depend so much on labor, I would jump on that ship and sail.
There you go. Very good. And so before we get to the final question of the day, how can other people learn about you and your company? How can they get in touch or in contact with you guys? Social media,
Well,
messaging,
yeah, right. We have our website, haringcatfish.com, HARING catfish.com. And then you can look us up on Facebook. Just search Haring Catfish on Facebook or search Topwater Feed Mill on Facebook.
All right. And look for your packaging in the grocery stores.
Right. That's right. That's right. And buy it. Buy lots of it.
And so
And keep
we
coming
spent
back.
that's right. Well, now I'm curious. Now I want to take any catfish and some of yours and just try them together to really see that flavor profile. And it's funny that you brought the
Yeah.
issue with coffee because coffee is a big thing for me. I'm originally from Colombia, and so it's a big part of our culture.
So you probably when they taste test coffee and they put it in their mouth and they spit it out and they try different. Have you seen them do it?
Yeah, yeah,
Well,
yeah.
it's pretty much the same with catfish. You put it in your mouth. You don't swallow it or eat it. You just move it around for a minute and then you spit it out and then you see what flavor you have. That's pretty much that's what we do.
Really? You don't swallow it? I would rather swallow it.
No, you can't swallow it. You have to spit it out.
All right. So, what's most inspiring for you today?
I think inspiring to me is any woman that is married and has children and gets up and goes to work every day. You my hero. It is tough. It is hard. And we keep pushing on and we keep getting up and we keep going. It's tough
Right.
to be a woman. I think that's the hardest job.
There you go. Well, listen, thank you so much for coming in today and sharing this with this group of people. I love what we heard today, and I'm sure there's a lot we're going to learn from it. Thank you so much, Hannah.
All right. Thank you. Goodbye.